Hello everybody, so today I'm doing my first wrap up since joining BookTube again. So I'll be telling you all about the books that I read in the month of June. It wasn't as many as I was hoping because at the beginning of June I had like a little readathon. I did like a vlog and everything as well, which I'll leave link down below, and I had such a good time. I was really in a big reading mood, but then the middle of June, it was like the third week of June, just a bunch of stuff happened and it was just very stressful, and I actually started vlogging. Hello everybody, so I am gonna be doing a little reading vlog. That didn't happen. So I just didn't end up posting anything, vlogging anything, but also like my internet was down as well. It was like a lot of little things all at once. And then the last week of June I ended up getting sick and I had like a really runny nose and I just felt like shit. So June kind of turned out a little bit different, but that's fine. I still read like 7 books in total, which I'm really happy with. If you watched my reading vlog from a few weeks ago, you will already know what books I'm going to be talking about in this video, but I'm just gonna tell you anyway and go into more detail. So yes, the first book I'm going to be talking about is Forest of Souls by Laura M. Lee, and I just realized that I think my cat damaged this, or maybe it was damaged when it arrived. I don't know, but like look at this, it's like totally damaged. It's like a big scratch mark. I'm so sad. Anyway, not important. So I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars. I really thought I was gonna enjoy this a lot more than I did. It's basically about a girl named Saoirse who discovers that she has these hidden powers and that she can actually raise the dead, and they kind of, her and her best friend end up kind of going on this personal growth journey and going into the Forest of Souls, which is really spooky. I love the concept. I love a good haunted wood story. It's like one of my weird favorite tropes. I really enjoy it. From what I remember, I feel like the pacing was off and there was a lot happening in this book. Like, I know it's the first book in a series and that the second book I think is already out now, but obviously there's a second book and it's going to touch on a lot of the plot points that were started in here, but I feel like it was just a lot going on. Like, there were so many different like character motivations, character goals and everything, and normally I wouldn't have a problem with that, but it all felt a little overwhelming and a little bit confusing as to like which direction this was going in. While this wasn't my favorite, I'm still going to give the sequel a shot. I think I might end up really enjoying it, and if I don't, I just won't pick up the rest of the series, which is fine, but I do think it has a lot of potential despite my initial issues with it. Okay, next up is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Diva. I loved this book so much. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. It was so cute and it was just everything. This is the story about Ben, who is a non-binary teenager. They end up getting kicked out of their parents' house and end up going to a different school and kind of trying to start a new life there as well. And they end up meeting a boy named Nathan, who's just so precious. I love him. I love like both the characters. I love Nathan and I love Ben, and oh my god. It was a really beautiful kind of friendship to romance, and it was very sad. I'm not gonna lie. I cried in this book. I was laughing in this book. I enjoyed it so much. I will leave some trigger warnings down below because from memory I think there are a few big ones in here, so just keep that in mind. But if you think you're okay after reading the trigger warnings, definitely recommend this. Next up is a book that is one of my probably my most anticipated read of 2021, and that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is set in the same kind of universe as The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. This follows a young woman named Nina Riva, her siblings, their mother June, and her relationship with Mick. It was just so well done. It really focuses a lot on family. This book kind of jumps between 1950s Malibu to 1980s Malibu, and jumps between Mick and June's relationship to the day of a massive party that the Reaver siblings have every year in Malibu. Taylor Jenkins Reid just does such a beautiful job of writing characters and relationships, and it's just one of my favorite things about her writing. And I adored the family relationships in here. They were all so well done. It was just so obvious how much they cared for and loved each other, and then they all learned to love themselves and care for themselves. While this isn't like my top book of hers that I've read so far, Evelyn Hugo is my #1 from her. This is my second favorite. So for me, it's Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six. And I haven't read her others, like her backlog yet, so I'm gonna have to get to that because this was just really, really good. And if you love her previous work, I think you're gonna love this one as well. Next up, I read Heartstopper Volumes 3 and 4 by Alice Oseman. I love these so much. So I love this series anyway. I have been reading since the first one first came out, and I've just completely fallen in love with Nick and Charlie and their love story. If you haven't already read the first volume, I won't go into any spoilers or anything like that. Basically, it's just about two boys, Nick and Charlie, who meet, become friends, and then fall in love. And it really, like, these graphic novels really delve into their relationship and their friendship circles, and it's just really, really cute. And it's such a happy series for me, except this one, I was sobbing for a good hour. I gave these ones 5 out of 5 stars, of course, because I'm obsessed with this series. This one I will give a trigger warning for eating disorders. It really explores how you can help a loved one with an eating disorder or another mental health issue, and how you shouldn't actually be the only point of support for them. And sometimes that the support also needs support in situations like that. And it's all about getting help and therapy, and I just loved it so much. If for whatever reason you haven't picked up this series somehow, I highly recommend it. It's so good. It will make your heart absolutely burst. Just the drawings alone, they're just so cute. Like, honestly. Next up, I have This Is How You Lose the Time Warp by Max Gladstone. And honestly, I went into this thinking I would love it a lot more than I did. This follows two girls who are on opposite sides of the war that they are in, and they are enemies, and they kind of end up writing each other letters as taunts at first, but then they slowly turn into love letters. And this is obviously a time war, so it's a bit timey-wimey as well, which is really cool. And I honestly thought I was going to absolutely love this, because I love timey-wimey stuff. I love sapphic romances. There's so many things in this book that I thought I was going to love. I ended up giving this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Mostly because the first half of this book, I was so confused. So I think that's just a me problem. So each chapter is set in a different world and like a different time period, which makes sense, but it was just really hard to kind of narrow down and learn about the world building, because they were all kind of shorter chapters with different worlds every time, and it took me a little bit to get used to. So the first half very much confused me because it kind of just throws you right in. The second half I fucking loved. I don't know what changed for me. It was like there was just one chapter and I just really like gelled with the world. I really was just on board by that point, and it was just, I don't know, it just kind of like turned around for me. So this ended up going from like maybe a 1.5 or a 2-star read to a 3.5 read. So I love the second half of this. I still really enjoyed this book and would definitely recommend it if you like weird books, or if you're just looking for a sapphic romance in like a fantasy or a sci-fi setting. This is gonna hit both of those. And finally, the last book that I read in the month of June, which was again 2 weeks ago because I haven't read anything in 2 weeks, haha, and that is Bloom by Kevin Panetta. I really love this book. I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. This is just like a cute little graphic novel following two boys who end up falling in love, and it is it's just like a very simple, cute little story. There's a bakery involved and they end up meeting and becoming friends and falling in love. The art is just absolutely stunning. Like, it's got, the whole book is in this kind of blue and white color palette. I really liked how flawed the characters were and how realistic they felt as well. I just had such a good time reading this. I flew through it. If you're looking for a queer romance in a graphic novel form, I definitely recommend this one. I had such a good time reading it. Alright, so that is it for my June wrap up. I hope you really enjoyed it. Again, I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to read as much as I was hoping to, but I'm not being hard on myself because, you know, I had a lot going on in the past couple of weeks, so that's fine. Sorry for not uploading if anyone cares. Let me know down in the comments what books you read in the month of June and what you thought of them. I'd love to have a chat. Make sure you follow my socials, which I'll leave at the end of the video and down below as well. And I'll see you all for a new video.